Okay, Emily, let's go ahead and see if we can get you set up with Open Broadcast. First off, we're going to go to Open Broadcast, right there, and it's obsproject.com. We want to go there. Alright, this is the client I'm using, the Windows, obviously. However, they have Mac over here, which is separate, and it's on a different, they call it multi-platform right now. But it's apparently uses a more powerful API and other things. From what I've seen, it's pretty much set up the same way here. Just things under the hood, so to speak, are running different. They say it's supposed to be better. So, anyways, it's not available for Windows yet. So I'm using this one to do this tutorial, and I'm hoping enough of it transfers over that we can or you can figure out how to get this taken care of. So. Go ahead and download this, and when you open it up, it should look something like this right here. Now, I am currently recording, so that's why you got window, 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 and I just prefer to have it on the bottom right corner. You can have it in the center or wherever you want, or full screen. Alright, now that we got that, we are going to go to settings. You can go from here to here, or you can just simply hit the settings button here at the same place. First off, in general, you can change the setting profile. If you don't plan on having or recording multiple or different things, like I'm doing a monitor capture right now versus a game capture. If you're just thinking of having a game capture, you don't have to change this or call it anything. Basically, this is the profile for all the settings, so you can just quickly change to a different profile, and the settings will all be tweaked to whatever you want for naming of that profile. So I have one here called tutorial that's made for monitor capture instead of game capture. Now encoding, only thing I changed here was the max bitrate was roughly 1,000, and I bumped it up to 10,000, and that works for me. I hope it works for you, but if not, we'll be talking about this at a later time as far as tweaking and things like that. Broadcast settings. First and foremost, I think by default it will say live stream, which we are not doing, so go to file output only, which this essentially is recording and going to put it on a file on your computer. So file path, open that, and I actually saved mine to my D drive, but I think videos or wherever you want really is just fine for you. You can I added a couple folders here just as examples because you'll have several videos of rounds played on one night, and you don't want to get that messed up with another night or something, just for my sake when I'm trying to organize all the videos and group them up by rounds. So you can do this, or you can just have a whole list of them, however you want to do it. But just type in a name, whatever you want, and what happens here is every time you start and stop recording, it's going, whoa, I spelled that wrong. Every time you start and stop recording between rounds, it's going to add a number 1, 2, 3, so you're just going to have a list of videos 1 through however many you do, and that's how that works. So you don't actually have to type in a new name every video. And then the most important thing on this screen is right here, this MP4 file. By default, it's going to be the flash. We do not want that. I can't use that. You could, depending on what program you're using, you can watch it, but as far as my editing purposes, I need you to save it as an MP4. Alright, once you have all that set up, you'd hit save. I'm not going to, and it should show the path right there. Now, the start-stop string keys don't care about. Start-stop recording keys. This allows you to have whatever application, such as Garry's Mod up right here, and obviously it'd be full screen. But all you have to do is hit, for me, number 8 on the number pad to start a recording, and then when I'm done between the round and loading the screens, I can hit 9 and it automatically ends that video. And then when a round's about to start, I just hit 8 and it starts another round. So I have a bunch of 4 or 5 minute videos, or maybe even a minute and a half videos, instead of one long hour video that's bigger, and I have to cut up and try to group with others, and it's just a big pain in the butt. So more smaller videos are better. So go ahead and set this to whatever keys that aren't being used in Garry's Mod and are comfortable for you to reach. So that's this page, broadcast settings, video, and every time you change something, it's going to want to ask if you want to save and blah blah blah. So video, don't worry about this. Now monitor and custom, don't worry about custom, but just be aware when you hit monitor, it automatically changes the custom to your native screen resolution. So this is mine, and I know the laptop Andrea plays on is actually a 16:9 ratio, and it's got different numbers, and you know, whatever you have to deal with. But for performance, we downscale, because on YouTube, I mean, yeah, you can do full screen, but it just doesn't make sense to actually put 1680 and for me to render that big video as that, just to put it on YouTube, that kind of downscales it itself already. So for performance issues and just practicality, we downscale, and by just convention, I'm using 960 and 600, and I know the laptop Andrea plays on is, I want to say it's 1024 by 5 or 6 something, and it's reasonably close. Although I think hers is slightly larger files, but it's reasonably close. So when I'm editing and splicing our different videos or different views in one video, one doesn't look amazing and one looks bad. It's kind of all semi, uniform. So go ahead and on the downscale that's based on these numbers right here, which is going to be your monitor, pick something that's close to 960 by 600. And next, we're gonna, don't even mess with this, just keep it at fastest. Frames per second. When I upload to YouTube, I'm rendering the video as a 720 at 30 frames a second. So half these frames aren't even getting used, but because my computer's able to, it allows me to edit, and I can do things such as, if I wanted to do a slow-mo, it's going to look better because I have more frames, so the increments are smaller. So I have 60 here, but for you, I'd probably like to try at 30 frames a second, just because the files are going to be smaller for us to transfer, and I really don't anticipate doing slow-mo or things like that. So go ahead and try 30 frames a second, and we'll be doing some testing on that on a later video, and that may or may change. Disable this arrow. I don't know what that does. All I know is when I started to do a monitor capture, it gave me a message telling me to disable this because it is going to work better. So I don't know, Mac may or may not have this, but I did change that. Okay, no, I'm not going to save. Audio, don't mess with right now. If we're having issues, we may look into the default settings and things like that, but otherwise don't touch this. Advanced, don't mess with. And microphone noise gate, don't mess with this. Alright, so after you've applied all those settings, that should get you set up as far as the program here. Now we need to make a scene, and we need to make some sources. So to make a scene, all you have to do is right click in the box, and you're going to add a scene. And this is going to be whatever you want. Just alright, so this is your scene, and I think I just screwed it up because now it's recording in your scene and you can't see crap. Alright, there we go. Alright, so say you have a scene down here and you want to add something, like I have a monitor capture right here. So I can add something, let's say game capture. And you can call it whatever you want, I'm just going to keep it there. And it's going to bring up this screen right here. Now, game capture is based on the application. Don't mess with the hotkeys or anything down here. And you can see I've got Garry's Mod running, which is currently down here. It's just a little window. You go ahead and select that, and it's going to immediately try to find Garry's Mod. Now, if it's not running, it's going to pick the next best thing, but you shouldn't be recording without it on anyways. So you can go ahead and check that right there. Now see how it is above? You can right click and you can move, no, not position, size, order. You can move down, and that way you can actually have different overlays and things like that. But that's going to be way too advanced for what we're doing. Anyways, so once you have that, this should be the only thing in your scene. Anything else? Yeah, you got your scene started here, and you got your source. Oh, if you need to tweak anything, you can always just double click and it brings up that same thing, and you can make sure it's looking at Garry's Mod.